But why are we supporting a country, 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state.
Today, the incoming United States President Donald Trump has boldly escalated tensions by declaring a fierce intention to leverage economic force to strategically annex Canada, underscoring a potential shift in the balance of North American power that could spark outrage and provoke a fierce backlash from our northern neighbors.
Under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada the 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstances will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't care.
You had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
But Sir Lopez, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it.
The border between Canada and the United States, as boldly declared by Donald Trump, is nothing more than an artificially drawn line, a mere figment of bureaucratic imagination that stifles the natural unity of our two great nations. He asserts that dismantling this barrier would not only enhance national security but also forge an unbreakable bond between the Canadian and American people. In a striking statement at his press conference today, he further amplified the audacity of his vision by asserting that Canada should unequivocally become the 51st state, challenging conventional notions of sovereignty and igniting a debate that could turn the tides of North American politics.
No right. No right. But why are we supporting a country, 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market.
All of this follows yesterday's post on Truth Social regarding Justin Trudeau's resignation announcement, in which Donald Trump said the following: "Many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat." Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned. If Canada merged with the United States, there would be no tariffs, taxes would go way down, and they would be totally secure from the threat of the Russian and Chinese ships that are constantly surrounding them. Together, what a great nation it would be. In a bold rebuttal to Pierre Poilievre's assertions about Canadian sovereignty, dismissing the absurd notion that Canada would never become a United States state, Donald Trump interjects a chilling ambiguity into the debate. He nonchalantly states, maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. Listen, I don't care what he says. These words might seem casual, but they resonate with an unsettling conviction. The rhetoric that once felt like mere jest on Truth Social has suddenly morphed into a palpable threat against Canadian autonomy. For the first time since the tumultuous eras of Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant, Canada finds itself at a perilous crossroads. U.S. leadership saturated with beliefs in manifest destiny poses an existential question for Canada. Can it maintain its sovereignty in the face of aggressive, expansionist rhetoric? This scenario is unfolding as Justin Trudeau, seemingly oblivious to the rapidly shifting political landscape, exits stage left, rendering himself a quintessential lame duck prime minister, leading a government preoccupied with internal strife rather than national interest. While the Trudeau administration spins its wheels, focused more on electing a new leader than confronting an imminent economic crisis, the reality is stark. Donald Trump is on the brink of reclaiming the White House, and he brings with him a chilling agenda. A 25% tariff on all Canadian goods entering the United States could send shockwaves through the Canadian economy, plunging it into a recession and throwing countless Canadians out of work. The very heartbeat of the nation could halt under the weight of economic tyranny spearheaded by a hostile neighbor. Over the coming months, instead of addressing these looming threats, Canadian leaders seem more concerned with a trivial liberal leadership race, squabbling over who will be the sacrificial lamb against the Conservative Party. This fixation on leadership contests raises a critical question. What happened to the once celebrated Team Canada approach? It appears the only leadership willing to stand firm against these threats is Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, while Daniel Smith in Alberta oddly seeks to cozy up to a figure threatening Canada's very existence. The audacity of Trump's recent statements demands a forceful diplomatic response. This isn't just about trade, it's about the very sovereignty of Canada. It's imperative for the Prime Minister to respond to the gravity of this situation. Let's not forget, while our leaders are distracted, Trump has not just spoken of economic force. He has openly flirted with the idea of using military might to annex Greenland. If that doesn't send chills down your spine, what will? Canada stands on the brink. Will it cower or rise in defiance? The time for action is now.
To get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah,
And then
I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China!
The same day that his eldest son and members of his team landed in New Greenland, they stirred the air with fervent discussions about their ambitious vision to make Greenland great again, a mantra that echoes with political nostalgia. They boldly claimed their intention to officially integrate Greenland into the United States, positioning it not just as a territory, but as a vital component of the American dream. At a fiery press conference, Donald Trump passionately articulated this audacious plan, igniting a debate that could reshape national identity and international relations. The world watched with bated breath as the claim blurred the lines of sovereignty and allegiance, challenging the status quo in a way that could spark both fervor and outrage across the global stage.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
He is issuing threats of sanctions and tariffs against Denmark, demanding they relinquish control of Greenland to the United States. It's an outrageous display of power. The prospect of the United States annexing Greenland through military force should serve as an unmistakable red line for the Canadian government. We cannot sit idle while our neighbor flaunts its ambitions like a bully on the playground. Moreover, the U.S. government has long brushed aside Canada's legitimate territorial claims to the Northwest Passage. These internal waterways, vital to Canadian sovereignty, are unjustly viewed by the United States as international straits. If they succeed in forcibly taking Greenland from Denmark, they will effectively gain the leverage to blockade the Northwest Passage, a dangerous game that threatens not only Canadian interests but also the security of our northern waters. Let's not kid ourselves. If Donald Trump is merely bluffing, the implications of his threats are still profound. Canada needs a powerful voice to rise up and push back against this empty bravado. There was a time when I found some of Trump's policies intriguing, even entertaining. Watching the spectacle from afar as a non-American has been nothing short of a reality show. But now it seems this farce has crossed over from absurdity to danger. The use of military might to annex Greenland and the idea of economically coercing Canada is intolerable. The Canadian populace deserves far better than a prime minister engrossed in political maneuvers that waste precious time while the nation stands on the brink of geopolitical tension. If the prime minister is considering a departure, then let's not drag our feet. Canada is in desperate need of an election right now. It's time for a leader who will take a firm stand against U.S. overreach, protect our sovereignty, and ensure that Canada is not just a pawn in someone else's game of international power play. As the specter of U.S. expansionism looms larger with Trump's aggressive rhetoric, Canada must confront its reality with unwavering resolve. The possibility of losing our sovereignty is not merely an abstract debate, it is an urgent call to action that demands a leader willing to rise beyond political games and safeguard the nation's interests. With Trudeau's lackluster response thus far, Canadians are left to question, is our Prime Minister fit to combat these unprecedented threats? What do you think of this video? How do you feel about Justin Trudeau's handling of Trump's alarming threats of annexation? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to let us know by smashing that like button. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do, as it will help us out a lot.